demonstrations that were being led by Azimio leader Raila Odinga. Joho said that although demos in Mombasa are yet to take place, the time is coming when they will hold protests. The former governor has seemingly been absent since Azimio protests began, which saw other leaders calling him out.
Nimeulizwa pale nyuma, mbona hatukuoni na Raila Odinga kwa the protests. And I want to tell you something. I subscribe fully to the ideology of Raila Amolo Odinga. It must be known. Mimi ni Raila na Raila ni mimi. It is only for health reasons. I've been away kwa sababu ya kiafya. Even as we speak, mimi niko katika recovering. I want to assure you, nikijisikia niko vizuri kiafya, kikamilifu, Raila atakuwa nyuma yangu kwa maandamano. Mimi nitakuwa mbele alafu yeye ndio nyuma. It must be known. So watu ambao wanaota otherwise, ati sijui watu wamestaafu, si watu wamefanya nini, mimi ni ODM na ODM ni mimi. Mimi ni Raila na Raila ni mimi. Watu wajue hiyo tu. Na tutakutana hapa mashinani. Wanasemaga nini? Tutakanyangana hapa.
Now, with the Eid celebrations being observed countrywide, Muslim leaders in Elgeyo Marakwet County have urged the political class to remain calm for the sake of the country's economy. Led by Elgeyo Marakwet SUPKEM chair Rashid Chebi and others, the Muslim leaders lauded the government over the move to reduce the price of basic commodities. On the same breath, they have urged Azimio leader Raila Odinga to rethink his plan to resume the planned protests after Ramadan.
Mimi jina langu ni Sheikh Fuad Abubakar kutoka Masjid Jamia Mosque Iten. Leo ni siku kubwa namba 2 katika maisha ya Kiislamu. Yani hii ni ina cheo namba 2 katika siku kuu zile za Kiislamu, inaitwa Eidul Fitri, yani Eid ya watu kula baada ya kuwa wamefunga mwezi mzima. Sasa leo tunaanza kukula na tunasherekea, na ndio maana yake. Uchumi uko juu kabisa, na bila shaka hatutafurahia ikiwa kama zile siku za nyuma. Siku za nyuma maisha yalikuwa mazuri, tukinunua vitu kwa bei rahisi, pesa zikipatikana kwa rahisi. Sasa hivi tunafurahi tu, ile kuanza siku yetu kufurahi, tutafurahi, lakini pengine wengi wetu mtu hana hata kitu ya kwenda kukufuturu ama ya kwenda kukula siku kama ya leo. Na ndio maana Uislamu unahimiza, kuna zaka maalum tolewa leo inaitwa Zakatul Fitr, yani zaka za watu kufungua Eid. Mwenye anayo ampe, mwenye hana kabisa. Kwa hivyo uchumi uko juu kabisa. Tunafurahi tu kwa kuwa hatutaweza kukana huzuni na ni siku yetu ya furaha, lakini kwa upande mwingine maisha iko juu. Tunaomba serikali kwa hilo kabisa. Tunaona bidii zinafanyika, tunashukuru rais ako kufanya bidii, bila shaka hajapuuza nchi, na tunamuomba juhudi hizo zio zitatiliwa nguvu zaidi, hasa chakula cha chini kama unga, sukari, mafuta, chakula cha maskini wale wa chini atuteremshie inshallah, na tutamshukuru rais wetu.
Sisi kweli tumefurahia siku ya leo, ingawa uchumi ni kali, lakini sisi kama Waislamu tunajikokota, tunaangalia wenye wajiwezi, tunamsaidia. Tunaomba tu serikali waangalie hiyo maneno ya inflation. Chakula imekuwa kali, na tunaona juhudi ya president akiendelea kuteramusha. So tunafurahia ile kitu. Tunaomba tu tukiwa viongozi wa dini, hii maneno ya kusema tuende barabara itaharibu uchumi yetu, itaharibu na watu watakufa, na sisi Waislamu hatupendi mtu akufe bila sababu. Huyo basta anajiita Makenzi kusema kwamba watu wafunge Ramadhan au wajifunge kukula mpaka wakufe, hiyo sijui anatoka kwa aya gani. Na hii yake ya kusema kwamba watu wafunge mpaka wakufe, hiyo sio dini, hiyo ni kuwaji, hiyo ni uwaji. Na huyo mtu asiwachwe, afungwe, waje Yesu akuja amtoe yeye huko, ile Yesu yake anasema hata asipewe bon alale huko mpaka hata yeye akufie huko.
Meanwhile, the Supreme Council of Kenya Muslims, SUPKEM Kericho branch, has called on Azimio leader Raila Odinga to hold off the street protests he announced will be conducted alongside the bipartisan talks. Speaking after Eid ul-Fitr celebrations ahead at Kericho Jamia Mosque, Kericho SUPKEM acting chairman Abdul Kadir Aziz told Odinga to demonstrate goodwill for the country by giving the bipartisan talks initiated by President William Ruto a chance. Kericho's Jamia Mosque chairman Abubakar Harun has further said that the government's interventions to address the high cost of living was starting to yield fruit, urging Kenyans to give President Ruto a chance to effect his manifesto. He pointed out that the maize flour prices, whereby he pointed out that the price of a 2 kg package of flour had since dropped by 50 shillings.
Nafurahia kwamba watu walifunga vizuri na tumefungua vizuri, ila tu tunaomba kuendelee kuwa na amani nchini ili tuweze kupata maendeleo na tuendelee na ibada ambayo itatusaidia sisi kama Wakenya kuishi kwa amani. But what we are asking for our leaders, national leaders, is to ensure to give dialogue a chance so that we move this process forward. We ask that the maandamano and the protest should stop and give the bipartisan approach a chance so that it can mutate to other things. So we ask them to abide by the bipartisan talks. So it cannot be maandamano at the same time bipartisan talk. You cannot have both sides of the coin. You must, when you toss a coin, you must accept whether it's the head or the tails. So we ask them to abide by the bipartisan talks.
Kama nchi kuna amani tutaendelea mbele, lakini ikiwa ni maandamano wanasema hakuna pali tutakwenda. Na hiyo gharama imezidi, si Kenya peke yake, ni dunia mzima. Si Kenya, kila pali mafuta imepanda, si Kenya peke yake. Kila pali chakula imepanda, si Kenya peke yake. Tukishinda hiyo kitu basi tutakuwa na nguvu. Wacha tumpatie urais afanye bidii. Ako na bidii. Na tunajua mwezi 3 mwezi 4 ijao kila kitu kitakuwa mzuri. Hata sasa hii unga imeshuka, unga imefika 170 ilikuwa 220. Sasa hii ameshuka by 50. Tumpatie muda, kila kitu ni wakati.
Now, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has held consultations with more than 240 members of county assemblies from central Kenya, counties of Kiambu, Nyeri, Murang'a, Kirinyaga and Nyandarua counties on strengthening the fight against drug and substance abuse in the region. Now, the second in command said the government will not relent on the purge to stamp out illicit brews and drug abuse until the war is won. He called on the members of county assemblies and members of parliament to complement government efforts by formulating laws and policies that aid in ridding the vice. Earlier this week, the Deputy President, in his development tour of the coast, promised to extend the efforts to the region and all other parts to save the youth from destruction.
We are meeting here in furtherance of the meeting we had with the stakeholders in Nyeri a week ago to bring our 5 county assemblies within the region to ask for their support, because the concern that the President and all of us have is the same concern these leaders have. And we are really discussing with them on how we can make uniform laws across the 5 counties to come up with very stringent rules and regulations to regulate the sale of alcohol, the issues of drugs, and indeed to come up with very stringent penalties to act as a deterrent to this sector. We are concerned as the leaders from this region and for the whole country, really, that if we don't intervene, we can lose an entire generation.
Issues on the table, and we asked our friends, bring your issues on the table, except one issue that we are not ready to discuss. Handshake, nusu mkate, that is an issue that the people of Kenya settled on the 9th of August through the general election. We are not ready, we don't have time to discuss issues to do with handshake and nusu mkate. But issues that concern the people of Kenya, whether it is what they call electoral justice, the constitution of IEBC, we have said we have no interest in Kenya Kwanza in deciding who will be the Commissioner A or Commissioner B of IEBC.
Now to some health reprieve in Siaya County, and which has recorded an 84% decline in HIV infections among adolescents aged between 10 to 19 years. According to the director of the National Syndemic Diseases Control Council, Lucy Gatti, between the years of 2015 to 2021, the number of new infections among this age group dropped from 2,355 to 371. Gatti, however, stated that the HIV/AIDS prevalence in Siaya County, which stands at 14.1%, is 4 times higher than the national prevalence, further calling for concerted efforts to bring the figures down.
We understand the stings of stigma and discrimination, especially HIV-related stigma and discrimination. And we recognize those amongst us who are able to come out, speak out and influence others to also not to hide and suffer in stigma and discrimination. May I also, in a special way, recognize the survivors of gender-based violence. Wale ambao wanazidi kudulumika lakini wamejitoa in our communities na wamesema they'll not keep quiet. They'll stand up and speak out the ills in our society so that they can influence and touch the lives of others who are going through similar experiences.
Gender-based violence is actually a silent epidemic due to the stigma those who are affected, who are faced, because most people are unwilling to talk about it. And therefore, one of the challenges that I want to throw to all of us here, who are leaders in one or the other, is that we must start talking about it. We must start talking about triple threats in our forum.
That reduction represents 84% compared to the national reduction rate, which was only 72. Imagine, Siaya County worked so hard from 2015 to drop their figures from over 2,000 to 371.
Now, the National Treasury and Economic Planning has generated a public participation exercise set on the amendments of the Public Finance Management PFM Act 2012 and public debt limit, whereby the proposed amendment to the public debt ceiling will grant the Cabinet Secretary of the National Treasury space to borrow according to the economy's capacity to pay. According to a statement by the National Treasury and Economic Planning, the proposed amendments seek to replace the 10 trillion Kenya shillings public debt numerical ceiling with a debt anchor set at 55% of the gross domestic product in the present value terms, and by setting the debt anchor, the country will be committing itself to a sustainable level of debt that is in line with the international best practice. The government has set 2027 as the year in which the debt to GDP ratio, which is currently at 61%, should align with the proposed anchor, 55% of gross domestic product.
By setting a debt anchor, we are committing ourselves to a sustainable level of debt that is in line with international best practice. This will help us to manage our debt more effectively and reduce the risk of default. It will also provide more certainty for investors and improve our creditworthiness. Further, the debt anchor conforms with guidelines set by the International Monetary Fund, IMF, a debt limit policy that is linked to debt sustainability.
Then we are also proposing that apart from the definition of public debt, we are also proposing to add a new provision, and the new provision is under the functions of Public Debt Management Office. The new provision is that we are proposing to say that the Public Debt Management Office should be able to advise Parliament and the Cabinet Secretary on the sustainable levels of public debt. So anytime we are proposing, when we take the budget to Parliament, the Public Debt Management Office should have a voice in advising both Parliament and the Cabinet Secretary on the sustainable levels of debt.
Now, dozens of Namanga border town plot owners are now calling upon the county government of Kajiado to iron out plot ownership wrangles to curb the simmering conflicts. The plot owners who were bypassed by county officials during the plot's validation exercise 3 years ago due to their plot ownership conflicts say they are neglected. The plot owners also complained of multiple allocation of same plots, leading to a standoff where several people have been claiming a single plot and competing over it. They, however, want the county to fast-track the plot's dispute resolution process to avoid land-related skirmishes.
Aangalie ile kiwanja ni ya nani, ama county government ajue ile ground mtu amekuja kutoa document kama ni ya huyo mtu ama ni ya mtu mwingine. Sasa ile kitu tunasema tunakataa hizo mipango, na hata kama atakuja na title ya chuma hakuna lazima kama atakuwa na title imetengenezewa wapi, lazima haki ifuatwe. Hii plot ni yao wase na hatuwezi kubali hiyo. Kwa hivyo tunataka tuombe county yetu, maana tunaheshimu, waangalie hiyo mpango, aingililie na afate haki, maana najua haki ikifatwa hawa watu watapata haki yao. Tunataka haki simame, maana hiyo tumekataa kuwekelea pandese na kujua mwingine. Na hiyo hatuwezi kubali, maana hatutaki kuja kukosana watu wa Namanga, tunakaa miaka mingi na amani. Kwa hiyo tunataka haki, na maana haki ndio muhuri, maana ifuatwe haki.
Elsewhere, Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka graced the commissioning of a water project done by the We Care for Humanity International NGO at Katuluni in Waita location in Mwingi Central constituency. During the occasion, Kalonzo urged the national government to consider delisting Masinga Dam. He also urged the county government of Kitui under the leadership of Julius Malombe to borrow a leaf from the international NGO and construct solar-powered water wells and boreholes, as well as tap rainwater so as to curb the problem of water shortages in the country. The founder of the We Care for Humanity NGO, Maria Torres, said that she was touched by the suffering of humanity, and that is why she plans to start water projects in various parts of the country, including Kitui County.
So, although we give up sometimes because of the seasonal rivers, there are very many. And all we need to do is to identify the sightings for the shallow wells and put as many of them as possible. Maji ikienda huko Tana River ingine na mpaka inaenda Indian Ocean, ingine tunatumia kujilisha. We'll also have to find a solution on how to make sure that we don't lose all the rainwater. By the way, I'm concerned in Gitaru. Masinga seems to be getting heavily silted, and whoever is responsible should know this.
We know that there are about 800 population in this community, or even more, and there are 800 donkeys, 600 cows,